to Rethinking Government Forms, presented by the Outpost for Public Sector Innovation, or OPEN. Over the course of these short videos, we will cover how to apply a behaviorally informed perspective to forms in your department. This is the first of 3 short videos that will cover a way to rethink government forms and what the process looks like. We hope that this lens and process will help departments create and improve forms and letters with a behaviorally informed perspective. Here at OPEN, we strive to improve outcomes for citizens by experimenting with emerging methods designed to achieve greater public values in service and program delivery. Please see our SharePoint site for more details on the work we do. One of these main emerging methods, and the method we use to redesign government forms, is called Behavioral Insights, or BI. Behavioral Insights uses principles from the behavioral and decision sciences to help us understand how people think, make decisions, and behave in everyday life. Using these principles, we can improve programs, policies, and services in ways that encourage positive changes in citizens and employees. This approach is an ideal way to improve forms and letters, making them easier and more accessible to the general population, which also helps to reduce errors. But why forms specifically? Because forms are everywhere. They are one of the primary ways citizens engage and interact with government. Improving forms is one of the best and easiest ways to improve these interactions and services. We will be focusing on forms throughout these videos, but this methodology can also be applied to letters, surveys, and other communications. At a high level, this is the form innovation process. It involves 3 key steps: breaking down the form, using the EAST framework to improve the form, and continuous improvement. Breaking it down is how we will find areas that can be improved. This will also help us to gain a deep understanding of the form so we can rebuild it to better achieve its purpose. The EAST framework of easy, attractive, social, and timely covers the process of improving forms. Continuous improvement is the final step. Once we have improved a form, continuing to gather data and looking at how clients are interacting with the form is important, as we can use this data to further improve forms with an evidence-based approach. Here we can see an example of a form before going through the improvement process. This is a form used in the Nova Scotia government for well water testing. This form is not a bad form, but there are many opportunities for improvement. For example, the form has a lot of confusing and technical text. There are also some difficult choices that could be presented differently. Here is the same form after using the EAST framework for improvements. This is an example OPEN has created. The form now appears less daunting, it is easier for the client to read, and has highlighted text for key information. Using behavioral insights to improve the form will mean less errors, more completed forms, less late submissions, and a reduced number of people walking away from the form altogether. With something like well water testing, we are dealing with the health of Nova Scotians. This is a perfect illustration of the importance of government forms and making them more behaviorally informed. Before we start redesigning forms, let's take a minute to figure out our approach. Which form should we look at first? How in-depth should we go on a redesign? We all have limited resources and limited capacity to take on projects outside of our day-to-day work. This module will cover how to prioritize and maximize benefits of form improvements. Choosing which forms to focus on may be easy, but it also may not be. If we have several forms we'd like to improve, we must find a way to prioritize the forms and balance our time between perfecting one form and making small improvements to many. To maximize the value of a form redesign, we can consider 4 parameters to determine our priorities. These parameters are number of clients using the form, percentage of clients having difficulty, consequences if incomplete or inaccurate, and feasibility of making changes. Let's say we have a form that has a very high number of clients. that use the form and a large percentage making mistakes. Let's also say that there are very large consequences if the form is done incorrectly. In this case, the form would be much higher on the priority list, as it is a challenging form to complete and mistakes are costly. We should also consider the feasibility of making changes to the form. With some forms, we have a great deal of freedom to make changes, but others present challenges when trying to modify them. Feasibility covers how easy a form would be to redesign or change. Feasibility presents both challenges and opportunities for the redesigner. Here are some things that can make form redesign more challenging. Information that is required to be captured by policy or legislation. Some forms have many legal disclosures that must be on the form in a certain way, limiting our freedom to make changes. Freedom to make changes. Is this something that we can change? Is the owner of the form unwilling to accept changes, or are we limited in the kinds of changes we can make? Will it be a long process to get permissions and sign-offs? Impact on processes upstream or downstream. Sometimes forms can impact other parts of a process. We must consider the impact they will have on other areas. Privacy concerns and consistency issues, both internal and external. Some areas are very sensitive, and forms present privacy challenges that can make a redesign more difficult. Additionally, a form that people are very familiar with may not benefit from seemingly positive changes, as those using the form know what to expect with the current form. If you find that several of these factors pose an issue to how easily the form can be redesigned, you can ask yourself, is this something we can work around? Should we move on and choose a different form? Just because the challenges are present does not mean we cannot improve the form, but we should consider how we will work around the challenges. In addition to challenges, there are also many different opportunities that can help make a form easier to improve. Simple and easy modifications can be made before moving on to another form. Maybe the form is almost there, or there are some obvious quick and easy changes that can be made to improve the form. This could be something like formatting changes, simplifying the language, or adding a bit of color. There is already a process undergoing a change where we can modify the forms as part of the larger changes taking place. Process changes are the perfect time to improve forms associated with the process. This also includes a change from paper to online. An online form presents many opportunities for easy improvements. When a form is being created, instead of redesign, here we can start with the behavioral insight lens and create a form using the improvement principles. And finally, the possibility to change multiple forms at once, or even create form templates. When there are similar forms, it can be easy to change all of them at once, or create a form template that is behaviorally informed to use for many forms in the department. Looking at the opportunities and challenges will help inform how easy changes to a form will be. The opportunities listed here often also present a time when improvements can be made quickly and easily. When dealing with many forms, there are often capacity constraints, and we must consider how our time will be best spent. Consider the prioritization table and the challenges and opportunities when balancing between addressing new forms or continuous improvement, and an in-depth redesign or quick improvements to many. Thank you for watching the first of our 3 videos on form redesign. In the next module, we will be covering finding opportunities for improvement and breaking down the form into its core elements. So grab a coffee, and when you're ready, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.